explanation for why the room looks the way that it does today.
Hi, I'm Lindsay with the Red Lion, obviously, and I just wanted to thank you all for coming to lunch today and for letting us entertain you a little bit prematurely for the holidays. It's Christmas in October today. We just wanted to kind of show off some of our holiday treats and goodies, and please make sure that you go back for seconds. There's lots today. And we also, on this side of the room, have desserts. So don't forget there's a second buffet over behind me. And thanks and enjoy. If you have any questions and want to plan a holiday party, give me a call.
Great, thank you. Any other announcements today? Oh, that's right. Okay, so now our president would like to, well, it's not really an announcement, it's more of the president's report. Okay. Oh, wait, oh, sorry, there was one more.
So Olympic Veterinary Clinic is hosting our 3rd annual Humane Society fundraiser for Halloween. So stop by from 12 to 2 on Saturday, October 31st with pets and costumes. And all donations go to the Humane Society. So we'll be passing out flyers with more information later on today.
Great. New clinic's coming along nicely.
Yes.
Yes.
Just one thing I just want to announce that Lake Crescent is still open this year, all the way until the end of the year. We do have some events that are coming up that some people are interested in. We are doing 3 winemaker dinners with the local wineries. This coming weekend will be a tasting with Harbinger on Friday and an actual wine dinner on Saturday night. We'll be following up with another with Camaraderie the weekend before Thanksgiving, and Olympic Cellars on the weekend, first weekend of December. Still have a lot of the tree lighting events, the Thanksgiving events, and also the Christmas and New Year's. So just again, just to make sure people are aware that we are open, both rooms and food and beverage through the end of the year. Thank you.
Tomorrow morning at BABA at 7:30 at Joshua's, and it will be recorded so you can watch it later. But most interesting is the charter review, and I see on your schedule you're not having the charter review information as a program. So if you don't know about the charter review and the challenges, tomorrow morning would be a really good time to educate yourself, learn. Norma Turner and I lost the other names. Sue Ford will be the speakers and will narrate and tell us what's going on. It's very important to our community that you understand the charter review process.
Luke.
Thank you. 2 events coming up. Wednesday at 2, our women's soccer team takes on Everett. Those 2 teams are vying for first place in the North Division of the NWAC, and this is their third meeting this time, and each team has won 1. So if you like soccer, that'd be something to come out and see the men play at 4 as well. And then on Saturday, the kickoff of the annual Meyer Hall concert series starts. The first concert Saturday night. Tien Say, who is a solo pianist, will be playing. Schubert, Liszt, and several others. I always have problems with that one. But tickets are available at Brown Paper Tickets, and there might be a few at the door if we're not sold out.
Great. Good stuff happening up at the college. Okay, well, if that's everything, we're going to move along to our program. Oh gosh, Jim, I'm so sorry. See, you should be doing this, then you can just talk. One more thing, the president's report.
That's okay. I've being ignored regularly is common for me. Really, all I'd like to do is this morning is announce the winners of our election. We have 5 new board members, and I would like to not only thank them for their willingness to serve, but congratulate them on their election. First, we have Elizabeth Halliday from First Federal. Is Elizabeth here? Okay. And Robert Utz, from the Red Lion. Okay. Michael from Lake Crescent Lodge. And we have Carol Sinton, who I know is not here, but she works with Revitalize Port Angeles. So it's nice to have a representative from that group on our board. And Stephen Offenoff from Domain Madeline, great bed and breakfast place. If you haven't been out there, it's a wonderful tour. And I also would like to congratulate and welcome our new executive committee. Your next year's president for 2016 will be our very own Sharon Thompson. Thank you, Sharon. Congratulations on that. Our vice president will be Jessica Hernandez. Treasurer will be Steve Burke. Again, Steve is willing to continue on as our dollars and cents guy. And I will be your past president. So thank you again for all those that are participating on the board. Again, I congratulate you on your election, and I thank you for your service.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we're going to move with our program. We have today two candidates for Port Commissioner, Connie Beauvais and Michael Breidenbach. We're going to do the traditional format of 5 minutes each for opening remarks, and Ms. Beauvais will start with that. And then there'll be a 3-minute rebuttal for each of those, and then we'll open it up for Q&A from you all. And then the response time is 3 minutes for that. And we're going to have Dr. Luke Robbins be our timekeeper today, so thank you for doing that. So without anything further, it's very strange. I know, it's not.
Good afternoon, I'm Connie Beauvais, and I'm running for Port Commissioner. I want a prosperous Clallam County, and I'm sure you all do as business people too. That is the reason I'm running for Port Commissioner. A Port Commissioner's job is to make sure that the Port wisely manages the public lands under its trust and creates job opportunities on those public lands. In other words, the Port is the economic driver for our county. And I want to use my background and experience to help make our port be the effective and efficient public agency that we all want it to be. I have 17 years of experience with university and public school district offices in the areas of administration, finance, personnel, and community relations. My husband and I moved from the Aleutian Chain to Joyce 20 years ago. And I am currently the state certified operator and manager of the Crescent Water Association out in Joyce, which serves great unfluoridated drinking water to over 2,800 people in the Joyce and Freshwater Bay areas. We also have an alpaca farm out there on 34 acres, and I want to continue being a fiber artist into my retirement. My community service includes currently sitting as the vice chair of the Clallam County Planning Commission. I sit on the Public Affairs Committee, or Government Affairs Committee, I should say, of the Greater Port Angeles Business Association. I'm an elected District 3 Charter Review Commissioner. I sit on the Crescent Community Advisory Council, and I'm a Coast Guard auxiliarist out of Adak, Alaska. So what do I see as the main issues facing the port? I have them listed on the back of my card here as creating job opportunities, harbor cleanup, community engagement, and working within a balanced budget. And then you can see I have bullets underneath that. Another one of the big issues that are facing us, of course, is getting reliable air service back in here, and I'm sure that question will be asked in just a couple minutes, so I will pause with that. One thing I would like to do, though, is pass around a little raw sample of the non-toxic, non-hazardous pre-preg composite material that is being used in the composite program, as well as a sample from a class project that was done by a student at Peninsula College. And this is Kevlar that is sandwiched in some of the composite material. So you can start that for me. So as a Port Commissioner, how will I attack the issues facing the port? With improved leadership, improved communication, and improved marketing. I believe there needs to be, the Port Commissioners need to be more proactively involved in the decisions of the port rather than delegating authority on some of the major decisions. And that will increase transparency and accountability. There needs to be better communication between the Port Commissioners and staff, the Commissioners and the stakeholders, and the Commissioners and the public. There even needs to be better communication through things such as signage at the marinas and maybe even on bypaths that traverse the port properties. Excuse me, and we need to do a better job at marketing. Marketing our available properties for lease with a special emphasis on drawing in light manufacturing and large marine topside repair, as well as marine trade businesses, all the way down to marketing our available slips at our marinas through development and dissemination of brochures. I held a strong first place after the primary, which was held in District 3. With 4 of us running, I won 33% of the vote and over half of the precincts. My endorsements include the Port Angeles Realtors Association, the Sequim Realtors Association, the Washington State Farm Bureau Political Action Committee, and the endorsement of the 2 county-wide elected officials representing District 3, County Commissioner Bill Keach and the outgoing Port Commissioner John Calhoun. I am not unfamiliar with the workings of a port. I have worked in a marina overseeing the maintenance department, marketing cruisers, and being in charge of the marina books. I am the only candidate who has regularly attended all the port meetings, workshops, and port-related meetings. I'm the only candidate to have toured our port's facilities with the executive director and staff, and I am familiar with the lines of business. I am eager to get to work as the next District 3 Port Commissioner, and so I stand before you and I ask for your support and especially your vote so together we can move our port and our county into a new prosperous era. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Mike Breitenbach. I've moved to this area in 1976. It's been a great life here in Clallam County. I wouldn't live anywhere else. I was able to raise a family here and continue until I retired about 3-4 years ago. I retired from Rainier, their Northwest Forest Products Division, as a senior manager. My job was to manage the sales on 400,000 acres and hire and contribute to the stock's value through better management, better fiscal management, and better marketing. So right now, I'm thinking that this year, we're seeing a downturn at the port, and it's going to take the port a long time, and I would say at least a couple years to get back on their feet from the drop in exports and some of their other issues with the leases. So I think the port's going to have to live within their means, and they're going to have to look at the finances and zero in on what's necessary and what's available for them to operate. And I think the port also has a very bright future here. We see the composites going in. We're seeing more businesses spread out from the I-5 corridor. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us here in the next couple of years to see what we can do to bring more businesses in. I would like to see a little more development down at the port as far as ensuring that everything's environmentally sound. We're seeing drainage go in. We're seeing the old K-ply site, Penn-ply site being rehabbed, which is very important to us for additional space for other waterfront businesses to come in. The last 7 years, I've been on the Fork City Council, volunteering my time in that regard as a councilman. I'm also currently on the Regional Transportation Planning Executive Board for the Olympic Peninsula, and I'm also on the technical committee for that board also. And that's very important. Transportation here is one of the key issues that we face. And being on the transportation board, the peninsula is divided up into 82 segments on this board as far as valuation and examination. And in the next 20 years, we're going to be funding probably less than half of our needs through state revenue. So there's going to be a real difficult time here on the highways. I know recently we've been reading about Lake Crescent being shut down for 1.5 years, which is ludicrous, and diverting all the traffic through the Joyce area. And we know that's not going to work. The Lake Road needs to be improved, it needs to be done, but there needs to be citizen input in that and how that's done and how it's worked out. The port's job, in my opinion, is not to hire and get more involved with the area as far as hiring employees. The port's job is policy, setting policy, making sure that the three people that report to the commissioners are doing their job. The commissioners have direct reports to the lawyer, the financial head, and the executive director. And that's my also opinion on how that should continue. I don't think there should be micromanagement of the court employees or of the staff. I think that should be done by the people that are hired to do that. And I think we've seen that, and it's worked pretty well for the last few years. So hopefully we'll continue that after you vote for me. So thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it, and I look forward to any comments you have and any questions.
One of the things we need here is to get airline service back. We all know that. We've all missed it. And it's going to take more than just one flight a day to do that. We need at least 4 or 5 flights. We need a couple of early flights. We need a couple of late flights. But we do not have the population here to fill all those planes. So we are going to have to go ahead and subsidize those flights, and the port is willing to do that. And I, for one, am a strong advocate of doing that. We will probably always have to subsidize the airline. Hopefully not, but if we do, I am ready to do it. But that will require that we develop our other lines of business to make up that deficit. But that, I firmly believe, is one of the things we need to do. And again, building up the lines of business is going to help us maintain a balanced budget. So far, we've been able to do that, but with the decrease in log exports, thanks to a volatile economy and the way Canada addresses their timber industry, we're seeing a little downturn of those exports, and our port has really relied on that money for their revenue. The port does not operate on tax money out of your pocket, except for a very minuscule administrative part of the assessed valuation. The port gets its revenue from its lines of business. That's how they operate. So it's really important for us to market and get those ships in here and do loading and offloading, which, you know, that's an open field right there. We could have a barge service come in, and we're doing a little bit of that now. Had we been a little more active in the beginning, rather than trucking garbage off from the landfill, it might have been better to have barged that off. So there's opportunities there that we can certainly look at. We have a deep port, we need to use it. We're not going to see changes overnight, but there's lots of potential out there. I do not believe that the port the commissioners having better communication with staff should be called micromanaging. The staff are the professionals, and they are the ones who can give information and recommendations to the port commissioners. I think there needs to be a little more talking done at all the levels involving all of the community and the stakeholders and the staff and the commissioners, so that there's better flow between the groups. The decisions may always have the same outcomes, but at least the people sitting at the tables will understand what the questions were, all the facts, all the options, all the repercussions before those decisions are made. I think that alone will really help the port and how it looks to the community.
So there's one difference between the two of us. I don't know, it's a huge difference, but working for a large corporation, for me to be able to do my job, I needed to depend on the people below me to send information up and not directly get involved with their work, per se. One of the other differences, and it's not in the harvest amounts, but in the management, is the county's desire to put pressure on the state to look at bringing back the county trust lands. Now, in my mind, I would like to see the DNR live up to its harvest amounts that they promised 20 years ago for us. The jobs we've lost in the last year through mill closures and other supplier shutdowns or limiting deliveries. So I think I would like to see, rather than create another bureaucracy, that the state look at having something new, possibly the state leasing those lands out, possibly the port becoming involved to get the governor of the state and help him actually have a forest policy, which he does not have as far as I know at this minute. That is something that is missing in our formula here. We need some harvesting, we need some milling capacity, and we need some tourism. And so right now, we're failing on two of the issues. The composite plant is definitely going to help us out. We need to get the DNR to live up to what they promised, especially for our junior taxing districts that depend on that revenue. I know, as most of you are aware, most of the cities are having a very difficult time paying their way. And part of that is basically timber harvest and all the auxiliary jobs that are associated with that. So that's something that we need to work on. And I believe, for the most part, that can be done with just more pressure. I know Forks, being on the city council for as long as I have, and that being my business for so long, has always been at the forefront to try to get this harvest back up. I also would definitely like to see the composite bring some spin-off, smaller jobs here. Maybe we could do something with an economic development zone to attract some out-of-the-area businesses. That's something that I think is possible. Most of the studies done on that show that smaller businesses benefit rather than larger businesses benefit from that. So again, thank you, and I appreciate it.
Great, well, now we can open it up for questions. Charlie has a microphone back there, and then each candidate will have a couple minutes to respond.
Yes, thank you, Sharon. My question is around attracting private investment into our community through the port. Do you agree that private investment attraction is a strategic priority for the port and should be one of their performance metrics? Number two is, how do you think they're doing in respect to the attraction of private investment? And number three is, do you have an example that supports your agreement or disagreement with that?
Well, that was three questions. I think the first one, my view of the port is as a facilitator. I think the recent movement of the boat company that went to Walmart, Westport, I believe it was, I think that is what the port is here for, as an incubator, as a facilitator. If they're going to attract an investment, they need the right infrastructure to do so. Now we're seeing a lot of interest down at the waterfront. So I would assume that the port would look at that and look at the long-term use of that and see what type of interest there is in other marine trades, which I think fit down there extremely well. I believe one of the key things missing here is also some type of a marine trade school to attract people into the area, to attract more business into the area. I think one of the big limiting factors here is the meshing of education, job availability, and future job prospects. So that's one thing I feel real strong about, and I don't see that happening here. We see the college up here is a great college. They've got a great site out there at Forks, but we're not seeing them mesh with the industry as well as they should. Now we have a composite facility, and that's occurring with that. And I'm not sure I remember the third question. How am I going to do that?
No, how would you rate how are they doing? How is the port doing currently in attraction of private investment? And based upon that, can you give an example of what you mean by your position on it?
Well, right now, I believe they were able to restart up the log yard for export and loading ships. That hadn't been done for, I believe, 20 plus years here. It was a long time. And I remember, I think the last boat that left here back in the 80s, and it didn't happen again until recently. So that's one thing I can think of. The other is bringing in the marine trades like they have. And that's a very important model to me, because you have a lot of auxiliary jobs that also feed into that trade, and that's important. Thank you. Hopefully, I don't know if that was perfect. Yeah.
Of course, I think it's valuable to encourage private business to come in. Absolutely. And I think one of the things that can help us is continuing to work with the EDC. I know they have been through a transition here lately, and it's kind of like there's good times and bad times, but with them reforming and the work that they are doing, I think they are a very valuable asset in our community. I see our county as a big wheel, and in the hub we have something like the EDC, and we'll call it the EDC. And then we have all of the government entities and even the private businesses who feed into the EDC what we need, what we can use, and get help from them on a number of different levels. But yes, absolutely encourage private business to come in. That's why I'm running. How do I think the port is doing? Well, it could be worse, it could be better. We have a really good marketing person a marketing development person, that's Jennifer States, who's put her whole heart and almost every awake minute into the composite business. I do know that for the next probably 2 years, she's going to be donating up to 50% of her time. I won't say donating, the port will be allowing her to work up to 50% of her time there. So I really think we need to look at getting another marketing person in to go out and look for those private businesses, to have them come in. The spin-offs from the composite business are going to be very important. And there are a couple of large companies that are looking, but I hope that there's some little guys out there in the county too who say, oh, I could make a little flipper thing. Let's see how that can be done, and go down and have the classes, do some prototypes and do some stress testing and all. And let those little companies start. Every really good company started with just an idea, and they started small and they grew from that. That's what I'm hoping that the composite will do for us. Give an example of a private business that has come in. Well, there's a number of them. There's Westport, there's ACTI, and the composite business too. And I know that there were some other things with the building that Westport was in, and they pretty much outgrew the building. They went to Walmart, and I say hooray for them. That's exactly how it should work. We have businesses come in, they start up, they do well, they upgrade the facility, they move into something better. Now the port can rehab that building and bring in another tenant. That's the way it's supposed to work. Thank you.
Both of you, the reference to looking after the port and making sure obviously there's income. As a port commissioner, you're only one of 3, but with regards to the recent price increases that were announced in the marina, there was a big opposition to this time. A lot of people have come out. It's their home, it's everything else down there. Where do you both stand on price increases, looking at, because that's a source of revenue, that's exactly what the port needs, and where do you stand on looking after these people that are actually local people and comparing us to the I-5 corridor?
Very good question, and if you read in the PDN, you know my position on that. And I kind of think we need to take a step back, and we need to sit back down at the table, and we need to do looking maybe from a different direction. Because we are economically depressed here, we cannot meet the rates that the other marinas charge. And what happened with the consulting report that came out was they listed the rates for all the marinas under Port Authority in the state, and they dropped the top 10 and they dropped the bottom 10, and then looked at what was left, and we're pretty close to the bottom. Well, if they'd let those bottom 10 in, those are the marinas that are most closely like us. Pleasant Harbor, Shelton, quite a number of them. So I think that was a little disingenuous to drop those 10 off. I also think that you know, we need to, well, first of all, the marketing, we need to bring more people in to fill our slips, so we need better marketing. But I think we need to look at having a county resident rate for our slips, a non-resident rate, which can be higher but less than other places and will still attract people to come in here, and an annual rate, because we can't say, well, we'll charge you 11 months. If you're here all year, we'll give you a month free. We cannot gift that kind of thing, but we can have an annual rate. And I think that's how we can, you know, do a better job. We also need to do some cleanup things down at the marina to really, you know, make sure that the amount of money that we're charging is a fair amount. We do need the marina to be in the black. We do not need to subsidize it with other lines of business. So that means you do not include depreciation in that cost. You cover your operations and you try to make a profit from that. So that's what I feel about that.
Connie and I have been going to quite a few of these forums together, and probably, I would say, a couple of the most contentious forums were the yacht club with those people involved in the marina, and we had one the other night that was pretty interesting. So, in my mind, you can go online and you look at all the other rates on this part of the sound through Hoods Canal. And I don't even consider the I-5 corridor as even an issue with the rates out here. And on the face of it, you look at that, and the rates here, to me, looking at other rates, are just a little bit low. And so, looking at that newspaper article where the port said, of all the capital items and improvements they're going to do, really, you have to look at what's occurring around you in a comparable appraisal sort of way. And I think that's part of what their analysts did. I spent my whole career doing comparative sales and getting down to the last little penny and the pencil and the toothpick and something to make sure that what I was getting was fair and what I was selling was at market or above it. Generally, I hope it was above it. So the marina needs to look at setting some type of a price index, whether it's a consumer price index, which we're told this year is 0, or in my mind, a lot of facilities such as that should be in the producer price index range, where you have manufacturing because you have so much replacement value going on at these marinas, John Wayne and the Port Angeles Marina. One of the issues in my mind with the John Wayne Marina should be looked at is possibly, I think it's 22 acres there, and it's really a park and a marina and a lot of liveaboards there. It looks like to me. I haven't looked at the numbers for the liveaboards, but it looks pretty substantial. I would like to see something done and possibly to lease out or build some type of a hotel or some facility there to attract more people to that site. It's a beautiful site. There's bay anchorage out there also, so they're not tied to the dock anchorage. I'd also like to see if you were able to do something similar to that to get more inertia there for some people to stay there and spend some time there. I think the two ports, or the two marinas, should be looked at as one in my mind. And so those revenues should be focused on those two issues.
I think we have time for one more question, if there is one out there. Wow, okay. Well, I guess that's it. I do thank you both so much for being here today. As you said, I know you've been doing this a lot, so we really appreciate your time, and I appreciate everyone being here today. It's just such a good forum to bring business people together and hear what the candidates have to say. And we're going to do it again. The day before the election, we are going to have the school board candidates, which is another very important race for our community. So, thank you again. Yes, if you'd like to, that would be great. So, a few minutes each in closing? Yeah, okay. Well, it wasn't on the docket, but Well, why don't we do that? Would that be okay? Would you be able to?
We're supposed to be at
At 1:30. So we got a couple. Give us a
They're going from here straight to the radio.
1 minute
You
close.
didn't
Give us a
have
1 minute close.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, that's fine, that's fine.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's really up to you. I wasn't planning on it, but,
Well, that's fine.
so.
It's taboo, it's taboo.
Okay, all right, well, thank you both very much again, and we will see you on November 2nd. Well, it's not really an announcement, it's more of the president's report.
Okay.
Oh, wait, oh, sorry, there was one more.
So Olympic Veterinary Clinic is hosting our third annual Humane Society fundraiser for Halloween. So stop by from 12 to 2 on Saturday, October 31st with pets and costumes. And all donations go to the Humane Society. So we'll be passing out flyers with more information later on today.
Great, new clinic's coming along nicely.
Yes.
Yes.
Just one thing I just want to announce that Lake Crescent is still open this year, all the way until the end of the year. We do have some events that are coming up that some people are interested in. We are doing 3 winemaker dinners with the local wineries. This coming weekend will be a tasting with Harbinger on Friday and an actual wine dinner on Saturday night. We'll be following up with another with Camaraderie the weekend before Thanksgiving, and Olympic Cellars on the weekend, first weekend of December. Still have a lot of the tree lighting events, the Thanksgiving events, and also the Christmas and New Year's. So just again, just to make sure people are aware that we are open, both rooms and food and beverage through the end of the year. Thank you.
Tomorrow morning at PABA at 7.
See anything good there?
Capacity all weekend long. So all now, another great weekend, and the 15th will be next year. Thanks.
And Lindsay has an explanation for why the room looks the way it does today.
Hi, I'm Lindsay with the Red Lion, obviously, and I just wanted to thank you all for coming to lunch today and for letting us entertain you a little bit prematurely for the holidays. It's Christmas in October today. We just wanted to kind of show off some of our holiday treats and goodies, and please make sure that you go back for seconds. There's lots today, and we also on this side of the room have desserts, so don't forget there's a second buffet over behind me. And thanks and enjoy. If you have any questions and want to plan a holiday party, give me a call.
Great, thank you. Any other announcements today? Oh, that's right. Okay, so now our president would like.
Executive Committee. Your next year's president for 2016 will be our very own Sharon Thompson. Thank you, Sharon. Congratulations on that. Our vice president will be Jessica Hernandez. Vice treasurer will be Steve Burke. Again, Steve is willing to continue on as our dollars and cents guy. And I will be your past president. So thank you again for all those that are participating on the board. Again, I congratulate you on your election, and I thank you for your service.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we're going to move with our program. We have today 2 candidates for Port Commissioner, Connie Beauvais and Michael Breidenbach. We're going to do the traditional format of 5 minutes each for opening remarks, and Ms. Beauvais will start with that. And then there'll be a 3-minute rebuttal for each of those, and then we'll open it up for Q&A from you all. And then the response time is 3 minutes for that. And we're going to have Dr. Luke Robbins be our timekeeper today, so thank you for doing that. So without anything further, this is very strange. I don't know, it's not the way that it should be.
Good afternoon, I'm Connie Beauvais, and I'm running for Port Commissioner.
30th Joshua, and It will be recorded so you can watch it later. But most interesting is the charter review. And I see on your schedule you're not having the charter review information as a program. So if you don't know about the charter review and the challenges, tomorrow morning would be a really good time to educate yourself, learn. Norma Turner and I lost the other names. Sue Ford will be the speakers and will narrate and tell us what's going on. Very important to our community that you understand the charter review process.
Luke?
Thank you. 2 events coming up. Wednesday at 2, our women's soccer team takes on Everett. Those 2 teams are vying for first place in the North Division of the NWAC, and this is their third meeting this time, and each team has won one. So if you like soccer, that'd be something to come out and see the men play at 4 as well. And then on Saturday, the kickoff of the annual Meyer Hall concert series starts. The first concert Saturday night. Tien Say, who is a solo pianist, will be playing. Schubert, Liszt, and several others. I always have problems with that one. But tickets are available at Brown Paper Tickets, and there might be a few at the door if we're not sold out.
Great. Good stuff happening up at the college. Okay, well, if that's everything, we're going to move along to our program. Oh gosh, Jim, I'm so sorry. See, you should be doing this, then you get to talk. One more thing, the president's report.
That's okay. Being ignored regularly is common for me. Really, all I'd like to do is this morning is announce the winners of our election. We have 5 new board members, and I would like to not only thank them for their willingness to serve, but congratulate them on their election. First, we have Elizabeth Halliday from First Federal. Is Elizabeth here? Okay. And Robert Utz from the Red Lion. Okay. Michael from Lake Crescent Lodge. And we have Carol Sinton, who I know is not here, but she works with Revitalize Port Angeles. So it's nice to have a representative from that group on our board. And Stephen Offenoff from Domaine Madeline, our great bed and breakfast place. If you haven't been out there, it's a wonderful tour. And I also would like to congratulate and welcome our new